Antarctica, which is not as cold as it used to be, all thanks to, you guessed.
To thousands of species, Antarctica has earned its name as one of the windiest and coldest places on Earth, but recent discoveries have made the place scarier for tourists, bringing with it more fear than its amazing sights. From an illegal drone flight over Antarctica to a mysterious revelation of hidden secrets under the ice, the USA's decision to shut down the continent has raised a lot of concerns from the media. But why was this so important that the area was locked down immediately, and what is Antarctica hiding? Join us as we reveal why the USA closed down Antarctica after an illegal drone revealed shocking secrets. Located almost entirely south of the Antarctic Circle and encircled by the Southern Ocean, Antarctica is home to the geographic South Pole. It is the coldest, driest, and windiest continent with the highest average elevation. Mostly a polar desert, it receives minimal precipitation, over 200 millimeters along the coast, but much less inland. About 70% of the world's fresh water is frozen in Antarctica, and if melted, it could raise global sea levels by nearly 60 meters. The continent holds the record for the lowest temperature ever recorded on Earth at -89.2 degrees Celsius, though coastal areas can reach over 10 degrees Celsius in summer. Antarctica is home to unique wildlife, including mites, nematodes, penguins, seals, and tardigrades. Vegetation is sparse and mostly consists of lichen and moss. With all its amazing features, why is Antarctica scary, and does the continent pose potential harm to humans? The ice shelves of Antarctica were likely first sighted in 1820 during a Russian expedition led by Fabian Gottlieb von Bellingshausen and Mikhail Lazarev. Over the following decades, French, American, and British expeditions continued exploring the continent. In 1895, a Norwegian team made the first confirmed landing. In the early 20th century, British explorers Robert Falcon Scott and Ernest Shackleton reached the magnetic South Pole in 1909, and 2 years later, Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen became the first to reach the geographic South Pole. Antarctica is governed by about 30 countries, all of which are parties to the 1959 Antarctic Treaty. The treaty bans military activities, mining, nuclear explosions, and the disposal of nuclear waste. Human presence in Antarctica primarily revolves around tourism, fishing, and scientific research. During the summer months, around 5,000 people live at research stations, but this number drops to about 1,000 during the harsh winter. Despite its isolation, human activity still affects the continent through pollution, ozone depletion, and climate change. The most significant concern is the melting of the West Antarctic ice sheet, which contributes to sea level rise and disrupts Southern Ocean circulation. This melting could have profound effects on the climate and productivity of the Southern Hemisphere. The continent's name, Antarctica, traces back to the word Antarctic, derived from Middle French and originally from Greek. Aristotle mentioned an Antarctic region as early as 350 BCE. Later, Roman writers Gaius Julius Hyginus and Aulus Gellius used the term Polus Antarcticus to describe the South Pole. By the 19th century, British explorer Matthew Flinders questioned the existence of a separate southern landmass, then called New Holland. He proposed that Terra Australis, which had been used to describe this land, should be the name for Australia instead. In 1824, Australia officially adopted the name, leaving Antarctica in search of a new identity. Over time, names like the Antarctic continent and others were suggested. Eventually, in the 1890s, Scottish cartographer John George Bartholomew popularized the name Antarctica, which is still in use today. Antarctica is also famous for the moniker Great White South, after which British photographer Herbert Ponting titled one of his books on Antarctic photography, probably as a sibling to the epithet Great White North for Canada. Since the 1970s, scientists have been studying the ozone layer above Antarctica. In 1985, British researchers at the Halley Research Station made a significant discovery, a massive area of low ozone concentration, now known as the ozone hole, covering nearly the entire continent. This hole was at its largest in September 2006, with the longest-lasting event recorded in 2020. The main cause of this depletion is the release of chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, and halons, which break ozone down into other gases. The extreme cold over Antarctica allows polar stratospheric clouds to form, which accelerate the chemical reactions that destroy ozone. Fortunately, the 1987 Montreal Protocol has significantly reduced the emission of these harmful substances, and scientists expect the ozone layer to recover to 1980s levels by the 2060s. The depletion of the ozone layer causes the stratosphere to cool by about 6 degrees Celsius, strengthening the polar vortex. This, in turn, traps cold air near the South Pole and cools the East Antarctic ice sheet while raising temperatures in other parts of Antarctica, like the Antarctic Peninsula, speeding up ice melt. Climate models suggest that ozone depletion and the strengthened polar vortex may explain why Antarctic sea ice increased from the late 1970s until 2014. However, since then, sea ice has been decreasing rapidly. Many of the species in Antarctica are believed to have descended from ancient species that lived there millions of years ago. To survive the multiple glacial cycles, these species found refuge in isolated warmer areas, such as regions with geothermal heat or places that stayed ice-free during the harshest cold periods. Antarctica's invertebrate life includes microscopic mites like Alaskazites antarcticus, along with lice, nematodes, tardigrades, rotifers, krill, and springtails. However, most terrestrial invertebrates are confined to the subantarctic islands. Around 40 bird species breed in or near Antarctica, including petrels, penguins, cormorants, and gulls. Other bird species, some from as far as the Arctic, frequent the surrounding oceans. Notably, the emperor penguin is the only penguin that breeds during Antarctica's winter, and along with the Adelie penguin, they breed farther south than any other penguin species. Large animals like certain seals and birds make annual round trips between polar regions, while smaller creatures, such as sea cucumbers and free-swimming snails, are also found in both the Arctic and Antarctic. This distribution is likely aided by relatively small temperature differences between the deep ocean at the poles and the equator, as well as ocean currents that transport eggs and larvae. Around 1,150 species of fungi have been recorded in Antarctica, with about 750 being non-lichen forming. Some of these fungi, adapted to extreme conditions, have settled within porous rocks, contributing to the weathering of formations in the McMurdo dry valleys and nearby mountains. Of the 700 algae species found in Antarctica, roughly half are marine phytoplankton. Multicolored snow algae thrive in coastal regions during the summer. Even sea ice supports unique ecosystems, as the freezing process creates brine pockets where microorganisms can survive. When the ice melts, these pockets expand, forming channels where algae bloom until the next freeze. Bacteria have also been discovered as deep as 800 meters under the ice, and it's believed that a native bacterial community exists in the subterranean waters of Lake Vostok. This discovery adds weight to the possibility of life on Europa, Jupiter's moon, which may also have water beneath its icy surface. Additionally, extremophiles have been found in the highly alkaline waters of Lake Untersee, reinforcing the idea that life can thrive in harsh, cold environments, which strengthens the argument for life beyond Earth. The politics behind Antarctica and why are people silenced from exposing deep secrets about the mysterious continent? The politics behind Antarctica's governance is shaped by the 1959 Antarctic Treaty and related agreements, collectively known as the Antarctic Treaty System. This system defines Antarctica as all land and ice shelves south of 60 degrees south. The treaty was initially signed by 12 countries, including the Soviet Union, the United Kingdom, Argentina, Chile, Australia, and the United States. Since then, 42 more countries have joined the treaty, making it a global agreement. Countries that conduct significant research on Antarctica are granted consultative status, which allows them to participate in decision-making. As of 2022, 30 countries hold this status. Decisions are made by consensus rather than voting, with the treaty focusing on scientific collaboration and environmental protection. The studying Antarctica who died under suspicious circumstances suggesting something sinister was happening. Her research uncovered that powerful military and scientific groups had been making secret trips to Antarctica for a long time, leading to debates about their true motives. Although Antarctica is supposed to be reserved for peaceful scientific research, increasing claims by different countries have sparked political tensions. People are concerned about the potential exploitation of natural resources and the possibility of military conflict. Currently, Linda is facing interference from mysterious government entities as she digs deeper into the growing secrecy and defense-related issues in Antarctica. Despite these challenges, more people are supporting her efforts. Understanding Antarctica's role in the future is crucial for the planet, yet those in power often block this understanding. As this saga continues to unfold, it's clear that the implications are global. This isn't just about the mysteries beneath the ice, it's about how those secrets could reshape international relations, environmental policies, and our understanding of Earth's last unexplored frontiers. Brian's experiences in Antarctica were mysterious, scientists disappeared, and many were scared into silence. What puzzled him the most were the shiny, unidentified objects performing impossible maneuvers in the bright skies above Antarctica. During one expedition over the Queen M Mountains, Brian and his team witnessed metallic discs emerging one by one from behind a snowy peak. These discs, each about the size of a large backyard trampoline, moved in perfect formation and headed toward Mount Froth. Their surfaces were dull and didn't reflect light, making them stand out against the clear blue sky. The movements of these discs defied anything known to human technology as they spun together, accelerated suddenly, and made sharp turns in midair without any visible engines. After about 15 minutes, the discs disappeared behind the mountain, leaving Brian and his team stunned by the advanced technology they had just witnessed. But the strangest discovery was yet to come. Brian came across a gigantic hole in the Antarctic ice that led down to a glowing cave hidden beneath the surface. The edges of the hole were so smooth that it didn't seem possible for any machine to have made them, and the area glowed with a strange blue light. As Brian and his team got closer, all their equipment suddenly stopped working. Radar, navigation, and controls all went haywire when they got within about a kilometer of this mysterious cave, causing a lot of confusion and panic. Brian wrote down everything that happened during this strange encounter, especially noting the weird electromagnetic forces and the superfast objects that seemed to shoot out of the cave at unbelievable speeds. But before he could share this information with anyone, unknown people came and took his report, making sure that these discoveries were kept secret. These strange events made Brian really worried. They reminded him of old stories about hidden underground places in Antarctica, especially those linked to Admiral Byrd's secret naval missions back in 1947. Determined to find out more, Brian even flew solo missions over this strange area, but weird electrical disturbances kept messing with his equipment, making it hard to gather more information. During his last mission in a restricted area, Brian discovered something even stranger, a shiny metal disc hidden inside an icy cave. Suddenly, the disc shot straight up into the sky, flashing a bright light that made all of Brian's equipment stop working. About 20 minutes later, Brian finally got control of his aircraft again, but to his shock, he realized that he was now 13 kilometers away from the cave. He couldn't remember how his plane had moved during the time he had lost control. Things didn't get any better after that. No matter how many times he tried, Brian couldn't find the entrance to the cave again. Bad weather and strict flying rules kept him from getting close. As time passed, Brian quietly started talking to other pilots who had also seen these strange metal discs near the Antarctic bases. One of his colleagues, who worked near your peak, showed him proof of unidentified objects moving underwater in the Weddell Sea. These objects were metallic structures that would silently rise from the water and then disappear without a trace. Another friend managed to get satellite images that showed unusual heat patterns under Wilkes Land, which made it seem like there might be temporary shelters or hidden bases under the ice. These conversations led Brian to believe that there were secret operations happening deep within the Antarctic ice, possibly connected to the strange flying objects he had seen in the sky above. These strange encounters kept Brian up at night, and the fact that he couldn't figure out what was really happening troubled him deeply. But Brian wasn't the only one who wanted answers. A growing group of experienced veterans were also eager to find out the truth about what was going on in Antarctica. With space agencies planning to build bases at the South Pole, it seemed like humanity might soon have to face the unsettling realities of what or who exists in the most remote parts of Antarctica. All of these strange events were pushing Brian toward discoveries that could completely change what we know about Earth. Documents and other evidence concerning Antarctica were brought up, but the mystery didn't end there. Brian's incredible experiences in Antarctica also connect with old stories, especially those about Admiral Richard Byrd, the famous American explorer. Byrd became a national hero after his pioneering flights over the North and South Poles in the 1920s, but it was his 1947 breakthrough that truly captured people's attention. He spoke of finding a vast, warm area beyond the icy terrain, inhabited by unusual animals and dominated by strange disc-shaped aircraft. The most shocking part, however, came after Byrd's return. His incredible story was quickly hushed up, and his records were taken away, and his team was forced into silence. Initially, Byrd's esteemed reputation shielded him from being entirely dismissed, but eventually, due to pressure and what was said to be a psychological evaluation by the Navy, Byrd retracted his statements. The strong push to keep him and his team quiet showed just how important it was to keep these Antarctic findings a secret. This suppression only made people more suspicious and curious about what might really be hidden in Antarctica. Although official reports downplayed Byrd's claims, suggesting they were the result of extreme polar conditions, many remained unconvinced. The contradictions between these denials and Byrd's detailed descriptions of a hidden, lush land filled with advanced technology and large creatures left people questioning. If true, these discoveries could have a profound impact on our understanding of science, history, and the world around us. In the beginning, people were mainly focused on protecting their country's interests and competing with other powerful nations to control Antarctica's resources. They also wanted everything to appear normal to the public. The U.S. Navy was probably concerned that the Soviets might use a secret part of Antarctica as a base to strike at America's vulnerable areas in the Pacific. Scientists were anxious that new discoveries in advanced physics and health sciences, which had been kept hidden for a long time, might finally come to light. Political leaders were also worried about causing panic by revealing that our current maps of the Earth were missing crucial details. The extreme secrecy from the world's top leaders, especially after Admiral Byrd's information was hidden, showed that they were concerned about more than just national pride or scientific achievements. Byrd's statements hinted that Antarctica might hold secrets that could completely change how we understand humanity and our origins. Later documents revealed that the U.S. government monitored every member of Byrd's 1947 expedition until they passed away, treating them as a security risk, not just because of politics, but because of what they had witnessed. It's clear that those in power knew that Byrd's findings were about much more than just land or new technology. By sharing his shocking discoveries about Antarctica while he was still there, Admiral Byrd probably hoped to get the truth out before others could silence him. Initially, his plan seemed to work, as the U.S. media quickly spread the incredible news that Byrd had found a warm, life-filled area beyond the South Pole.